Hello everybody, my name is Isabella and welcome to my channel Between the Pages. I think this is going to be like my secondary filming spot um because there are a few times where I can sit here and film when I can't film where I normally do. Also, I don't think I mentioned it, but if I did it would probably be in the introduction video, but I am working on reorganizing my bookshelf, and that being the background to my videos. It's just a hot mess right now. And the only days I really have to work on it are Saturdays. And even then, I have a ton of other things to do on Saturdays. So it is a slow work in progress, but I'm working on it. And also, I kind of want to make a series of videos while I'm doing it because I personally love watching people like reorganize their bookshelves and go through their books and stuff like that. So, y'all might get a couple videos on that. I'll probably split it into several different parts and do several different aspects of reorganizing my shelf. So, might be a little while, but that's what I plan to do. Also, we're gonna have a little taste test before I get into the video. This is the new summer edition of Red Bull. It is the white peach flavor. My boyfriend bought it for me because I said I wanted to try it. So we're gonna try it today. So yeah. I used to hate peach flavored stuff, like artificial peach flavored stuff. Like I love fresh peaches, but canned peaches, not a huge fan of. And then like artificial peaches, I've just never really liked. At least when I was younger, I still don't think I like peach suckers. But I tried the peach Alani, and that was like the first thing that I tried that I really liked. That was peach flavored. So since I like that one, I'm hoping I like this one. But here it goes. Okay, that's actually crazy. So to me, the Alani peach, I can't taste as much of the artificialness of it. And this straight up almost tastes like a fresh peach, in my opinion. Which I also said that about the Alani. The Alani does have more of an artificial taste to it. And my boyfriend straight up was like, that does not taste like a fresh peach whatsoever. But this to me, it kind of does. It kind of does. That blew my mind. Needless to say, I really like this one. That's crazy. I really like that one. That is going to be top three: coconut, the grapefruit one, and then that one. I don't know what order ranking, but those are my top three. Anyways, so I think that's about it. And let us get into the video. So, today I'm reviewing The Voyage of the Dawn Treader by C.S. Lewis. This is the fifth book chronologically in the Chronicles of Narnia. I was so excited to start this one because I remember this being one of my top three, and I remember possibly liking it more than Prince Caspian. So I was very excited to read it and to see how that might have changed or stayed the same, whatever. So, my particular copy is 216 pages and 16 chapters. Um, and the font is fairly big for like the size of the book. So, so I'm gonna read the summary because once again, I do not believe that is a spoiler. So it says Narnia, the world of wicked dragons and magic spells, where the very best is brought out of even the worst people, where anything can happen, and most often does, and where the adventure begins. The Dawn Treader is the first ship Narnia has seen in centuries. King Caspian has built it for his voyage to find the Seven Lords, good men whom an evil uncle Miraz banished when he usurped the throne. The journey takes Edmund, Lucy, and their cousin Eustace to the eastern islands beyond the Silver Sea toward Aslan's country at the end of the world. Okay, so this book takes place exactly 3 years after the previous one. Well, 3 years Narnia time. As far as in like the Pevensey's world, I honestly can't remember if it even mentioned it at all, but Narnia time, it's been exactly 3 years since the Pevensies left. Okay, so being as spoiler free as I can, I'm going to tell y'all a few of the other things that I like about it, which is mainly just going to be the things that are very tied to the Bible and things like the rest of the books, because they all are beautifully written. They're all just beautifully and wonderfully written and told so wonderfully. I haven't really been mentioning that, but I am kind of mentioning the different biblical ties that all these books have. So this one, once again, has a redemption story, but it is kind of different from all the other ones, except for Edmund's, because it does go more into detail and more in depth. And because of that, it is my second favorite redemption story, the first being Edmund's in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. There's also a part in this that really reminded me of like our need for a pastor, and how our pastor is the one that reads and studies the Bible, but also prays and receives words from God for us. Um, like the congregation of a church, we can do some pretty stupid stuff without the advice and the leading of our pastor. And there was a certain part in this book about midway through, I think, that really kind of reminded me of that. It was really fun to read, really interesting, and that's just what it reminded me of. Also, I want to clarify something. I think I said in one of the first books that Narnia is kind of like heaven, like how Aslan is a representative of God and the White Witch was a representative of Satan. I think I said that Narnia was a representative of heaven. That is not true, and this book clarifies it a little bit more. This book clarifies it a little bit more. Um, I want to set the record straight because I hadn't reread the whole series when I made that first video, so I kind of forgot about all the details of this part. So I want to clarify that. Narnia is not heaven, it's kind of like just a mirroring of our world, somewhat. But in the end of the book, I'm going to try not to spoil that much. Aslan is talking to some creatures, and we learn that Aslan's country at the end of the world is like heaven. And Narnia, to me, kind of symbolizes, I go into it in the plot summary, but it kind of symbolizes our spiritual journey, in my opinion, at least for the Pevensies. Eustace, who is a new character in this book. I didn't mention that earlier for those who haven't read it yet or listened to it or anything. Eustace is from the Pevensies world, and so everyone from the Pevensies world, or I mean our world, they go to Narnia, and to me, and their experiences in Narnia allowing them to get to know Aslan. It's very similar to us having spiritual experiences and our spiritual journey on this earth that lead us to find God and get to know Him, develop a relationship with Him through prayer and Bible reading, all of those things, because all of the people from the Pevensies world, save Uncle Andrew and the magician's nephew, find Aslan and become followers of him. And this might be a slight spoiler, but it helps them get to know Jesus in our world. So that might not have been C.S. Lewis's intention. A lot of the things that I've talked about that reminded me of the biblical things and religious things may not be what C.S. Lewis intended. Those are just things that I got from it, things that it reminded me of. So I wanted to clarify that Narnia is not like heaven, but Narnia allowed the Pevensies to get to know him better and to get to know God in our world better. I hope that makes y'all want to read it a little bit more. I hope I get better at talking about books in a way that makes y'all want to read them. So between the plot, we only have two for this book. Once again, there are magic, there are talking creatures, there are some slight battles. I wouldn't even consider them full out battles, just little fights. And once again, it says the three-letter A word for a mule or your bottom. Um, like I said, and I think the last two at this point, I guess C.S. Lewis was fine with using that word, and he might not have used it as much of a curse word as it is today, but I still want to let y'all know about that. This might be one of the quickest reviews that I've done so far. So now for my review, once again, a 5-star, like the whole series. But let's be honest, I really think I might like this one more than Prince Caspian, which part surprised me, part didn't, because like I said, I kind of remembered either liking Prince Caspian and The Voyage of the Dawn Treader equally and then both taking the second place spot, or liking The Voyage of the Dawn Treader a little bit more. So I really think this one is above Prince Caspian. Now, when it comes to the writing, the plot, everything, they're pretty equal in my opinion. However, the redemption of Eustace and the very end of this book, the last chapter or two, really moved this book up a little bit more for me. So that's why this one has got to be my second favorite. Also, just with the ending alone, it honestly gets a little bit closer to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where they're kind of fighting for first place. However, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe still is my favorite, and I honestly think it's holding that spot more just because it is the first book published. It is what created Narnia as far as a story and a series. It was the first one published. It was the first book I ever read that made me fall in love with Narnia, and I think that's why it's at first place. But so far, it would be The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, Prince Caspian, then The Horse and His Boy, and then The Magician's Nephew. So that is my ranking so far for the series. Um, this one, y'all, I'm so embarrassed to say this. This one took me like a week and a day to read and to finish. I know it's terrible, but listen, I have an excuse. um, well, technically, I started it like on a Friday, but I didn't actually read it. Like that was just the day that I finished the book before it, and then I added it to the app that I use to keep track of my reading, and then I didn't read it all that day. So then I started it the next day, and then exactly a week later is when I finished it. But the reason why I say that I have a good excuse is that I put off editing for my plot summary videos, and I had 4 hours of footage to go through. Never again. I will never make that mistake again. So I decided to limit myself to a chapter or two a day and primarily focus on editing when I had a spare minute. Um, so we were over that little hump. I finished editing those 4 hours of footage, and they come out to like half of that time. Um, so yeah, that's why it took me a week to finish this, but it would have taken me about 3 or 4 days if I'd have read the same amount that I normally do. Especially because like it was kind of a fight because I really wanted to pick this book up and finish it so quickly because I loved it so much. I was talking to Grace Lee like partway through the week, and I said, Grace Lee, it has taken me almost a week to read this book. It is haunting me. Um, so yeah, it was bad. That's what I'm gonna say. It was bad, but it was such a good book, and I didn't want to put myself on a limit like that. And I don't want YouTube to limit my reading because I'm so focused on editing. I've come up with a system to kind of keep a hold on both of them, on both editing and reading. So see how that plays out. Anyways, so language and the style is very much similar to all the rest of the books other than The Horse and His Boy. I went over that in that review. Very fast paced, but that is the norm for all of the books. And I really loved the underlying themes and the ending, which is what really solidified its place as second place for me. Um, the ending is just kind of made me tear up just a little, but it was just it was so sweet. I actually read like half a page or a full page in the plot summary because I couldn't not read it to y'all. Once again, very great for children. Great biblical similarities, which is primarily why it's second place for me. So I believe that's everything. Can't wait for y'all to read or listen to an audiobook of this book in the series. It is truly just so good. So yeah, I believe that is it for this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to see y'all in another video. Bye!